Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I am on the thriller train. I have an addiction to thrillers right now, and I have not been as excited about reading since, like, this is the most excited I've been about reading this year because of the books I've been reading. I'm on the thriller train here. So like I said last video, a thriller is what got me out of my slump that I feel like I've been in for months. Like, I would read 2 books fast, I'm like, I'm good. But no, I feel like I'm truly excited to read again, like, for real. Like, I am going to the gym in the morning and reading in between my sets. I am reading on my lunch break. I am, like, reading these books any second that I can. Louis, come here. Because I finished The Perfect Child, and that's just kind of what kickstarted me, because I just finished a Frida McFadden book last night, and I'm reading her new book that was just released yesterday, Ward D, today. So I'm gonna go through like 15 thrillers that I loved, I would recommend, and I have some special shout outs that didn't make my 15 thrillers list that I'll still touch on and talk about as well. But I am just so addicted to thrillers right now. They have me so excited about reading. What got me into reading was thrillers. Like, I've always been a reader. My grandma was a huge reader. Like, my memories of her are just like sitting beside her reading. So I've been reading for as long as I can remember. Like, grade 1, like, I was devouring all the books in the teacher's baskets. Like, and then, you know, high school comes and it's just like busy, life is busy. Like, I was reading in the summers, and then I think it was like, I would read on vacation, but it was 2018 I read Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. Just like randomly picked it up at Indigo, sounded good, and I was into thrillers ever since. That is what I was picking up at the bookstore. It kickstarted me back into reading, and I was reading thrillers consistently for 2-ish years before I decided to like branch out. But now I'm like back on that train again where I'm full thriller mode. So here we go, let's do this. So I have a list on my phone, and if I'm missing any, I probably am. I feel like with all these videos I'm missing, I usually skip a book or I forget a topic, but that's okay. So I'm just gonna start at the bottom and go up to 1, because I feel like my most recent ones that I loved are at the top. But okay, let's just say number 1. My number 1 book I'm going to talk about is Then She Was Gone. So like I was saying, let's just go from there. Then She Was Gone, Lisa Jewell. That is the book that kickstarted me back into reading. It was the thrill. I was like reading this. One second. Louis' favorite hobby is to get the zoomies while I'm filming, but I have a stool right beside me as usual that he can chill on while he's waiting, because we're downstairs in my sister's apartment. I think he just wants to go back up. We're upstairs and he wants to go back downstairs to our own apartment, but he'll be fine. Okay, so Then She Was Gone. I remember I was working at a water park, and like we'd have rotations, and I think we'd have like a 30-minute break where we could sit out of the sun, or like 20, depended on the day, and I'd be reading, and like no one could speak to me. Like, someone would try to talk to me and I'm like reading this book, I'm like, no one talk to me. And everyone's like, why are you reading? So yeah, Then She Was Gone kickstarted me back into reading, and then it couldn't have been much longer, maybe a year, because that was 2018, so maybe a year. It must have been 2019. A year later, I was still into reading, and I heard of the book Verity. So that's number 2 on my list here. I heard of the book Verity. I was on this book lovers Facebook group or something at the time, and I remember everyone saying the best book is Verity, the best book is Verity, and this was like, yeah, 2019. I'm like, cool, I'm gonna pick this book up, I could use another book. I went to like every chapters, Indigo, whatever, nowhere. I looked on their website, nowhere. I'm like, who is this Colleen Hoover woman? Why can't I find this Verity book? I didn't even know what it was about. All I knew is that these people in this group chat on Facebook, or this group, could not stop recommending it. I'm like, I need this book. It probably wasn't for a year later that I'm like, I'm just gonna order it off Amazon. I didn't even think about it before. So then I ordered it off Amazon, and then I read Verity October 2020. But I think I have it on Goodreads as 5 stars, but I think originally when I finished it, like, there was no hype around it yet. I gave it 4 stars. But then the more I thought about it, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I did bump my rating up, but originally I couldn't put it down. I was but now with all the hype, I don't know. That book has a special place in my heart. That book and I have been through a journey. Okay, number 3 on my list is The Perfect Marriage by Geneva Rose. I saw this one on TikTok actually a couple years ago. That was probably 2021. I saw someone talk about it on TikTok, sounded amazing, ordered it. And that book is about, I don't know. Okay, so okay, then she was gone. It's about a woman's missing daughter. She's trying to find her. It's so good. Anyway, The Perfect Marriage, it's about a husband who cheated on his wife, and then his mistress ends up dead. The wife is a lawyer, and she might be his only hope of, okay, wait, how did that go? Okay, so the husband cheats on his wife, the wife is a lawyer, but then the mistress ends up dead, and the lawyer wife might be his only hope because he's accused of killing the mistress. It's so good. The ending, I was could have been 4 stars, but the ending was just oh my god, I loved it. Number 4 on my list, this probably isn't a shocker, The Silent Patient. The Silent Patient is about people come at me so much for saying this is a spoiler, but literally go on Goodreads, and this is exactly what Goodreads, the little synopsis is gonna say about the book, the description. It is about a woman who shoots her husband in the face and never speaks again. That's not a spoiler. People on TikTok come at me for that. And then a psychotherapist, he makes it his goal to be her therapist or whatever, psychotherapist, and try to get her to speak again to find out the truth of what actually happened and why she did it or whatever, get her to talk again. The next book on my list, number 5, is Behind Closed Doors. I love that book. I devoured it. It is super anxiety inducing. It is about a woman who, this one I'm I struggle not to give spoilers. It's about a woman and her husband. They seem super happy together, but which is weird because she is never not with him. Their house has metal shutters. It just seems something sketchy is going on, which means there probably is. What is actually happening behind closed doors with this perfect couple, you know? It's so good. Highly recommend, but major trigger warnings. Next is The Girls Are Also Nice Here. I got this one as a gift, and I don't know why, but part of in my heart, I'm is this a YA book? It looks like a YA book, and there's me just judging a book by its cover again. But one of my best friends gave it to me, so I'm okay, I'm gonna read it. It sounds good. And so basically it's about this girl. She's going to her 10-year college reunion, and before she goes, she gets a letter, anonymous letter or note that says, we need to talk about what we did that night, or what we did, or whatever. And it kind of flashes back and forth between her freshman year at college and her going back to that 10-year reunion. And it is just crazy. It's crazy. And then the ending was just so shocking. It was very good. The next one is Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. Alice Feeney is just a superior thriller author. I've loved all of her books I've read so far except Daisy Darker. I really did not like that one at all. That was a 2-star book for me. Rock, Paper, Scissors, a couple is they get this vacation, they win a vacation or a getaway, and they end up at this creepy church, and just weird stuff starts happening. And they're trapped there. It's a snowstorm. It's so creepy, and you're just, it's impossible to predict. Impossible to predict. I love when it comes out of nowhere. Local Woman Missing. I absolutely love that book. It's kind of it's about a girl who goes missing. This couple's daughter goes missing, and years go by, 5 years go by, and they live in this good neighborhood. But then on the other hand, there's this girl that was kidnapped, and she's found and comes back to them. You know when you read a book, even if you loved it, it's what actually happened in that book? But yeah, it's about their daughter who goes missing. 5 years later, she shows back up. Next, Sometimes I Lie, another Alice Feeney book. I absolutely love this book. So basically it says at the beginning, she says some things about herself, and then she's sometimes I lie. And it's just what? Okay. Basically this woman goes, so she's in a coma, but she can hear everything around her, but then it's also goes back and forth between like the days leading up to her coma and what actually happened. And then I think in the present time she's like doesn't know what happened because of the coma, so it kind of all comes together. And then it also has a third point of view from her childhood, or from childhood diary entries. It's very good. I love that book. And the next one is The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. This book is about a man and a woman who meet at the airport. I've recited this so many times. It's a man and a woman meet at the airport. The man is like confessing to this random stranger woman about how his wife's been cheating on him, and he's like, oh, I could just kill her or whatever. And she's like, I'll help. And he's like, wait, what? And then they make a plan to kill her. And yeah, there's like so many twists in this book. Like, it's just like, what? Like, they come so early on too, and they just continue, and it's mind-blowing. And the sequel was really good too, and it all tied together really nicely. The next one, number 10, I think, The Perfect Child, the one that just got me out of my reading slump. That book, okay, trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning. Look up those trigger warnings. I am giving the warning to look them up if you're someone who needs to. I always go in blind because I don't like whoops. There are certain ones I don't like really mess with me, like animal abuse. I have read books with that in it. This one does have that in it, and I just try to detach during those moments. But I'm pretty good with trigger warnings for the most part, except like Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. That one was a lot for me. A lot. I didn't like, it was too much almost. But this one has a lot of trigger warnings. It's basically about a young girl who gets brought into the hospital after she was found wandering a parking lot with a dog collar on. She's 5 years old, and then the surgeon on her case really like has a strong bond with her because he's working closely with her, and the wife and him are struggling to have kids, and so they end up taking her home, but her behavior is super disturbing, and it all kind of connects to her past and what actually happened to her. The next one is Never Lie. I just finished this book last night by Frida McFadden. I am on the Frida McFadden train. I literally just finished it last night. The whole time, obviously I can't put it down. I don't want to put this book down. I can't stop reading it, but I put on Goodreads, is it possible that I have the twist figured out? And someone commented back, which I didn't even see till last night. They're like, that's what I thought too, but I was so wrong. Because I'm like, there's no way people rave about this book and like the twist is so obvious. Like, there's no way. And that's like kind of what kept me going too, because I'm like, there's no way. And oh, I had no idea. It is straying, like, oh, it strays you so far from what actually is gonna happen. Like, it's so crazy. But basically, this couple is house hunting. They end up at this house of this like psychiatrist, and then the wife stumbles upon like all the recordings of her like sessions with her patients, and it kind of shows like what happened to the psychiatrist, because she went missing and no one knew what happened to her. So like the pieces kind of all come together, and it's just it's insane. 5 stars. And all these are either 5 or 4 stars, which I can go over quickly after. The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. I literally read that in 3 days, short chapters. It's about a girl, she needs a job, she becomes a housemaid for this family. The wife just seems like so out of line, like making these messes just for like Millie, the housemaid, to clean them up. Like, she'll say something and then Millie will do it and she'll be like, no, I never said that. And like, it's just like really messing with her. And then she has like, they put her in the attic to sleep, and she's like, that's sketchy. And then there's a lock on the outside of the door. So everything just seems like very off, but she doesn't want to lose the job either. So things kind of come together, because you're like, what is going on with this family? Like, what is going on with the wife and like the husband who seems so like sad? And oh, it was just crazy. And then next, number 14, These Silent Woods. These Silent Woods was just like, someone recommended it to me from my Bookstagram, and I'd never heard of it, so I read it right away, and it was just a very different type of thriller. Like, there was really sad parts where you're just like, oh my gosh, but also very heartwarming parts, and then you're like, this is a thriller. But it's basically about a man and his 8-year-old daughter, and like her whole 8 years of life, they've been living isolated in the woods in this cabin. The only neighbor or person who really knows that they're out there is like this hermit who lives a cabin that's like just a walk away. And then the other person who knows they're there is like the dad's friend who brings them supplies once a year, and then one year he doesn't show, and then someone random shows up, and all of a sudden their safety is like blurred because a random person just shows up in the woods. Okay, number 1 on my list. I read this one in December. It was so good. Also another Geneva Rose. I hope I'm saying her name right. Geneva Rose. One of Us is Dead. This is housewives meet murder mystery. It's about this girl who owns like an all-exclusive salon called Beauty Glow Bar, I'm pretty sure, Glow Beauty Bar, in the town of Buckhead. And then all these like rich housewives are like exclusively go there, like it's whatever, they get all their beauty needs met, but they're also just so gossipy and catty and whatever. And like, so Jenny, the owner of the bar, the beauty bar, is like kind of like knows everything that's going on between these ladies. And then someone in the town of Buckhead ends up murdered. And so in present time, Jenny's being interviewed by the police because they really want to know more about what was going on with these women. That book was amazing. I really enjoyed that book. So let me quickly go over the ratings because I forgot. Then She Was Gone, 5. Verity, let's just say 4.5. The Perfect Marriage, 5. The Silent Patient, 5. Behind Closed Doors, 5. The Girls Are all so nice here, 4 stars. Rock, Paper, Scissors, 4 stars. Local Woman Missing, 5 stars. Sometimes I Lie, 5 stars. The Kind Worth Killing, 5 stars. The Perfect Child, 5 stars. Never Lie, 5 stars. The Housemaid, 5 stars. The Silent Woods, 5 stars. And One of Us Is Dead is 4 stars. My special shout out thrillers, like they're still really good. They just didn't make my top 15. The Favorite Daughter by Kara Ruda. The point of view, the way that story is told was so good. That like I read it a very long time ago, but the way that story was told, it was like they were talking to the reader. It was very interesting, very good. The Wives by Taryn Fisher literally had my mind spinning. My Lovely Wife, love that book. That one's by Samantha M. Downing. That was crazy. I just love the whole storyline of like a couple who murders people. Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. That one was just creepy vibes. I loved it. The Other Misses by Mary Kubica, same author as Local Woman Missing. That one was just like mind-blowing how it all came together. And The Perfect Girlfriend by, who wrote that one? Karen Hamilton. It was just like perfect if you're getting into thrillers, I'd say. It was really good. Yeah, like not my favorite or like unforgettable, but it still made my special shoutouts list. So yeah, I am just on the thriller train right now, and I will continue to be. And those are my recommendations if you're trying to get into thrillers or just need some more thriller recs. Take them and run and thank me later. So I'm gonna go up to my apartment. I'm gonna devour Ward D by Frida McFadden because I'm gonna read Ward D, and then I think I'm gonna read a Lucinda Berry one next, Saving Noah. I'm just gonna read all the thrillers until I need to like sit down with my book club book, because that one is not a thriller. It's the new Christina Lauren book. So anyways, you can follow my book talk if you want at Pages of Books with 2 S's at the end, or my bookstagram just at Pages of Books. And yeah, feel free to give me any recs as well. I love all the thriller recs, all the book recs. Let me know. Bye guys.